Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I do hope you're having a wonderful end of the weekend. I hope you had some time to enjoy a bit of life. And if it still applies to you, a little bit the end of the summer. Now, if you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. The channel is growing very well, so thank you very much for your support. Next week, I'll be traveling for business between Tuesday and Thursday. I will still try to post content, but in case you don't see me for a couple of days, you now know why. Now, I would like to, as I do typically on Sundays, to discuss a bit of a broader topic, something more macro, something that will have definitely impact on the long run in societies all over the world, but this is not necessarily something you can really translate into investing strategies right now, or maybe there's a lot of still ambiguity around this matter. So it's just more something that we should consider because it will have definitely an impact on everybody's lives. And today's topic would be artificial intelligence and the new forms of money. Now, let's start with artificial intelligence because I do believe it has the potential to be the most transformative technology that we've ever had, including surpassing the internet. So, I mean, if you think about it, right? If you just take, 2 steps and go back, let's say go back 40 years ago. I mean, how different the world was and how much productivity was generated by the development of the internet. I mean, can you imagine, like, if you think about your normal days of work and the amount of things that you can do online that you couldn't do previously? I mean, it's even unfathomable to really put it into numbers, what kind of productivity improvements we had. But I do believe artificial intelligence will actually surpass all of it. So I was listening to someone who's very basically in-depth within this topic, and what he said actually quite scared me quite a bit. So in case you don't know, the typical leapfrog in years that we have thanks to technology is about 30 years, meaning in 1 year we leapfrog technologically. It's like it has been 30 years. Okay, the most we've had in our history was 1 year we leapfrogged 50, technologically speaking. Now AI is now expected, the best projections, to make us leapfrog 1,000 years over the span of a decade. So that's an average of 100 years per year, which is double the biggest leap that we took in the past. Now, if you just think about, because I was thinking about applications for the future. Like, can you imagine that maybe in the future you don't even have surgeons? Like, if you team up AI with robotics, you can actually undergo surgery without ever talking to a human. Now, for us that are grown up and were born in a different age, this will be, exclaiming, oh my God, like, what do you mean going under surgery, never talking to a human being? I mean, this seems so weird, right? And it's true. I mean, from our point of view, it's very weird. But from the point of view of, let's say, our children, I mean, maybe our children, when they grow up, they say, what? You used to play video games with a remote? Really? Oh my God, what something so old-fashioned, Oh my God, you used to press buttons to turn on and off lights? I mean, what? You used to go physically to banks to open accounts? You used to go to the dentist and have someone doing dental work on you? I mean, you used to consult with lawyers, but if you have, ChatGPT, you actually don't need them now, do you? Now, the point of what I'm saying here, I don't have a crystal ball. I actually cannot tell exactly what's going to happen in the future. But I have zero doubt in my mind that there are 2 things that will dramatically change the world the same way that the internet did. And one of them is AI. The other one is crypto. Now, crypto is not as young as I would say as AI. So here is my expectations for AI stocks, if you will. And we already seen this, by the way, which is huge jump in the beginning, huge crash, because in any new industry, there's always a lot of excitement, a lot of noise, a lot of sizzle, but no steak. So something going like this in terms of excitement. And typically what happens, just like the internet, Amazon went from $6 to $130, back to $6, and then to 3,500 something. So, but my point is, and most of the companies competing with Amazon actually went bankrupt. So what I think is going to happen is going to be a huge excitement in the beginning with AI stocks. I think they will crash 90 to 95%. Most of them will go bankrupt. The survivor ones, the ones that survive and prove that they are on the path to profitability, etc., those will be the ones that I invest, because in my opinion, those will be the next Amazons. The same way that Amazon did, right? It went up, went down, proved itself, and then proceeded to went up, and now every dollar spent on the internet, 50 cents goes to Amazon. So that's how powerful they became. Now, with regards to crypto is one of the few things that really can change the way we approach money. So fiat money is flawed by one simple reason, which is governments will never resist the temptation of printing it in order to make a recession, which is normal and actually desirable, because you need balance in an economy. You need good periods, bad periods. You need to be awake, you need to sleep, you need to drink, you need to not drink, you need to eat, you need to stop eating. So the world is made of balances. And when you print money to make it look better, you are creating imbalances. But now these things you cannot tell them immediately. It takes time for them to manifest, but they can completely poison entire societies. And I do believe, and I mentioned this in previous videos, that I don't think the West, what we call the West, Western Europe, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Japan, I don't think they will be the engines for growth for the next 100 years. I do think certain countries of the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and certain countries of Asia Pacific, Vietnam, Malaysia, India, etc., will be the engines for growth. Now, here's the key. Many of these Middle Eastern countries always had the potential to be better than almost everybody else on the planet. The reason why they couldn't do it is because of religious extremism towards other cultures, in the sense that people, Europeans would not migrate over there unless for huge sums of money. But if they moderate that side, like the UAE has done, then they have the cheapest energy on the planet. They have very cheap real estate because they are surrounded by deserts. They have virtually unlimited funding, and they've done something correct, which is attract the finance world, because the finance economy is about 6 times the real economy. So the real economy is about $100 trillion, and the finance economy is about 600 trillion. Now, and because money is flawed, that opens the door for a better form of money, which is crypto. Now, we had also other better forms of money, like gold, but gold poses issues like counterparty risk, cumbersome to transport, easy to confiscate, all of these things, which crypto does a better job. Now, does that mean that all cryptos will rise equally? No. But the point is, because we are only $1 trillion, it's much easier to go from $1 trillion to 10 than having the stock market going from 100 trillion to a quadrillion, for example. So, and by the way, I do think there's going to be a shift where, even the New World Order, if you want to call it, already said it, that one of the next items that's going to be on the table is to tokenize securities. So tokenize stocks and put them on the blockchain, which obviously will attract more money into the system. And the reason why it's actually a better form of money is because it's not controlled by a single state. It is, behold to mathematical laws, which indeed some of them can be changed. That's also a reality. But the point is something organically that came from bottom up instead of top down approach. And the fact that it limits the amount of inflation that you can have, it prevents governments to go wild and crazy on printing money to solve short-term issues so they can get re-elected. And that is the key. That's the key for any politician in the world, is to get re-elected. So never get elected, number one, get re-elected, number two. So if that means short-term gain and long-term pain, they will take that deal every day of the week. And this is why we are in the situation that we are today. And the problem with this is that this is not linear, this becomes exponential, which is basically, it took us 150 years or 100, what was it? So it took us about, 180 years to accumulate $1 trillion in debt. And now we just added $1 trillion in 3 months. So that shows you how bad the system is crumbling and why the other forms of money are better. And that's why eventually they will succeed. Not succeed in my opinion, of course. I mean, this is what I believe. And not so much because that type of money is perfect. It's just that the alternative is so poor. And now we are starting to see the full-fledged impact of all these bad policies over the years, that it becomes extremely clear the issues that we have with the money. And now if you see what the US has done to other countries with sanctions, etc., you see why the reserve currency cannot belong to one single country. So to be clear, what the US did was wrong, not because I think what the other guys did was right, but because a reserve currency needs to be neutral. That's the point. You want enemies and allies to hold it. It doesn't matter, right? To hold it beyond their own currency, to hold another currency as a reserve. That currency needs to be neutral, cannot partake in wars. But this has always been the case, and that's why the US dollar is the fifth reserve currency and not the first. It will disappear, it will stop being it, not disappear as a currency, but it will stop being a reserve currency, just like the other ones did. And they always stop for the same reasons. And now we have the chance, if sufficient countries adopt it, that at least crypto may play a role as an alternative asset going forward. But then you can say, oh yeah, but governments will ban it. Yes, but not all across the world. Something called regulatory arbitrage. Why? Why do you think when the US becomes hostile against crypto, China via Hong Kong becomes friendly as well as Russia? Why do you think that as one country bans it, the other one adopts it? Because there's money to be made and there's advantage from a regulatory standpoint to be friendly towards certain assets like cryptos, depending on the position of people who are not necessarily aligned with you. So for example, the US has been hostile, yes, but China has been accommodative, Singapore has been positive as well, the UK has been positive, and the European Union, for the most part, has been positive. And many countries in Africa have been positive, and some countries like Latin America have been positive. So the point is, for every example of a negative attitude towards crypto, I can give you 10 positive ones. And that's the point. As long as there's money to be made, there's always certain parts of the world who will embrace it. And that's why I think even if you ban crypto, then you have very quickly have the incentive to unban it. That's my point. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.